Hey, welcome back to another episode of Fourth and Neat. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe. Give us a review. You know, we got a handful of reviews out there, and it's all everybody wishing that you were playing for their team again, Jared. Like, are you coming out of retirement anytime soon to go play for the Chiefs or the Vikings?
No, not at all. And I apologize for the shaky video and probably crappy sound this time around. I am literally on the back of my horse right now in Colorado roping. So if I was coming out of retirement, this would probably be a banned sport that I'm not allowed to do. That I wouldn't be any good. I
do say we are about making podcasting history, Jared. And once again, you have done it. You know, you're riding a horse while recording a podcast. That's insane.
You want me to get the viewers a little shot of what we're doing out here?
Let's see it. Okay.
So I'm out here at JD Yates' place. He's, I believe, a 52-time world champion. And his son, Trey Yates, is qualified for the NFR. I'm sure he's probably won a few world champions as well. So, yeah, it's a good day. It's when you got to keep being a student, Fred. You got to be a student.
I hear you. I never did any roping. I rode broncs and bulls, but never did any roping. It was never too much coordination for my style.
Yeah, it's there we go. Now would be better. My hand was getting a little shaky, so I didn't want people to think you're on a midday bender.
Well, that's true. I mean, Hey, I figured you'd be training for the curling right now. Are you?
I am doing that as well. I got the curling event coming up in November, so we're at T-Line a couple times a week training out there. Still, I'll be back. I'll be back on Wednesday. So at the end of the week, I'll be training curling. So yeah, it's a busy life trying to pretend I'm still an athlete. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I go through that all the time, but. So, hey, we've got a real special guest today. You're at the place.
A legit athlete.
A legit current athlete. Well, you're at the house of world champions of roping. We have, I think, someone who has entered the conversation for the greatest seasons of all time in Olympic-style wrestling and freestyle, and that is Zahid Valencia, coming off of the World Championships, not having a single point scored on him, and beating one of the Iranian goats. Zahid, it is such an honor to have you on. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you guys.
I know you like tight roping, Zahid, but have you ever roped off of a horse or anything like that?
No, I've never roped off of a horse, but tie roping from tree to tree.
See, Jared, have you ever tight roped?
So I was going to say, what we should do is we just take one of my ropes and let Zahid tight rope. We'll tie it, we'll tie it from, fence to fence and see how far you get. How did you get into tight roping? How does a world-class wrestler get into tight roping?
It was about like 4 or 5 years ago. One of my old weightlifting coaches, he was into it, and then he just gave me a backpack with a tight rope in it. So I just started practicing, and I just kind of, it was a good hobby to have. Active recovery, just staying out there and staying active. So kind of just like that.
What's the highest you've? What's the highest?
Well, not easy, but it's a lot of time.
What's the highest or longest you've tight roped over?
I just go like at the park, find like 2 trees that are probably like 50, 100 feet away, and just kind of just go back and forth on that. I haven't gone over any like cliffs or anything like that.
I just don't do that.
Yeah, not yet. At least not yet. As soon as I get good enough, maybe across the Grand Canyon. We'll see.
What? Across the Grand Canyon? No. See, I'd be terrified. I'd be terrified. Are you afraid of heights, Fred?
I'm supremely afraid of heights. Like, I'm scared to death. I can't even look off of a hotel balcony without my knees shaking. Like, that's legit.
Yeah. So do you just use your arms, or are you the guy out like in the park with the long pole? You got the long pole out there helping you balance?
No, just the arms. Yeah. I don't use the pole or anything like that.
Does that help you? Umbrella. Does that help you at all for wrestling on the edge? Like, because you always have a good feel for your balance.
Yeah, I think all that helps for sure with my balance, my coordination, just staying focused. It's something that you really just have to stay focused all the way through.
So you guys are both California guys. I think you kind of grew up a little, pretty far apart. I don't think.
Chris, are you NorCal or SoCal?
SoCal.
Oh, that's a different state. That's right. That's a different state. I knew I was hesitant for a reason.
But there is one commonality there. He went to Arizona State, Jared, and I know your wife's went there.
Yeah, my wife went to Arizona State. We lived in Scottsdale for about 14 years. So we lived there. But that's before we moved to Nashville. That's where we lived. So when I saw you were a Sun Devil, I was like, all right, I got a lot of respect for that. And kudos for not taking like the Oklahoma State, Penn State route, putting your own stamp on it. So no one could ever say you're a product of the program. You know what I mean? I love it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: what was the biggest challenge? Because you literally did something only 3 other people or 3 Americans have done, and not get a point scored on you. So what's your mindset going into those matches? Are you more defensively minded of trying to stop points, or you offensively minded and just out there trying to score, and then so it's like defense via offense?
Yeah, I think I was more offensive minded. I think just because I was constantly trying to score, that I didn't give my opponents any openings or any opportunities to get a hold of, a setup or a tie up in order for them to go shoot. So I just think that pace that I put and that pressure really helped.
Yeah.
Not just scoring, but stopping a lot of their stuff.
So is it like a pitcher throwing a no-hitter? Like when you're like, oh, don't talk about it, coach. Don't talk about it.
Yeah, well, especially, going into the tournament, I told a couple of my buddies, I'm just going to try to make this thing easy. I'm going to go 50-0, just 10-0, just tech everyone.
Yeah.
I got close. I got 49-0, but yeah, that's just kind of the confidence I had. So I was there, and after the semis, I was like, okay, I could do this. I could get a tech.
I'm sorry.
Looking back, I wish I got the takedown.
There were tears all across Iran when you beat Gaziantep, and I don't think you just beat him. I feel like you took his pride and his manhood. He looked so defeated. Wouldn't even wrestle you in the last 5-10 seconds.
Yeah, I think there was 20 seconds. He had his last shot and then kind of just broke down, hands on his knees, which I've never seen anyone break that early.
Well, you know what they say: fatigue will make a coward out of anybody. So you did. You took a piece of them. That's awesome. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I know it probably sounds morbid to non-athletes listening, but when you're playing any form of a contact sport, to be able to literally break another man who's training doing the same thing, it's like right? When you got him, there's nothing they can do. 100% defeated. I hope I'm never in that position. But I can tell. I know I've seen that look before, and that's that is a different level of accomplishment. So obviously, we're stoked to try to get wrestling back on the map big time here in the United States. And I think it's been making a pretty steady comeback, with your generation.
Yes. And by the way, Jared, I want to point out, you were talking noise on Oklahoma State. I do want to point out that Zahid did transfer on the regional training side to Cowboys RTC. So
I know he did. I read the bio. I had to get it in there. I had to take a shot at the Cowboys.
By the way, Zahid, did you notice how smoothly he did that and just kept moving on? I couldn't get in there.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But
hey, I took Zahid's advice. I stayed on the offensive. I just kept talking. Right?
Yeah,
just kept talking.
But truth is, Arizona State, you wouldn't be where you are without Arizona State. But I do think that when you made that move to train with Coach Taylor and then eventually Coach Roper, I feel like as wrestling fans, we all saw just that. I'd say a half percentage or to a percentage increase in your wrestling skills, which is a lot at your level because you were already a bronze medalist on the world stage. So let's talk about that process of when you moved to Stillwater.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I always tell people, I'm a I'm a Sun Devil for life. I love that place. I put roots down, and it was an awesome place to be. And I learned a lot there, and I won two national titles for them. So I love that school a lot, and I respect all the coaches, my teammates there. But yeah, just going. I was taking a lot of seconds there. I just couldn't seem to get over that hump. So I was just like, I need to make some sort of a change, So I reached out to David, and it seemed like the best spot for me, and he welcomed me. So within like 10 days, I made the move. I talked to the coaches at ASU, and they kind of understood where I was coming from. It was tough. I didn't really have all the partners that I could have had, and what at the time Okie State, has right now. So it all just kind of fit perfectly, and I think I helped them out a lot, and they helped me tremendously, and it works hand in hand, So it's just been so good, and I got probably a few more years there, because I'm gonna go stay through 2028 most likely, and try to go win the Olympics in my backyard in Los Angeles. That'd be awesome.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. So if you get down there, because you're on the podcast, you have to invite Fred and I.
Oh, for sure.
Well, we'll be down there cheering it on. I think another really cool thing you said is like it takes a special mind to know, because a lot of people can get complacent in their greatness, right? But you look at like Tiger Woods, he was winning everything, and then he goes and changes his swing, right? So for you to have the wherewithal to say like I have more, and I got to go find a place that can drag that out of me or bring that out of me, like Fred said, even if it's a 0.5%, a full percent. Difference. I mean, clearly that makes a huge impact at that level. And kudos to your coaches for understanding that, they weren't the ones to get you there, right? And not put up a fight and make it so. I think it's cool when you hear that. I try to tell my kids all the time, again, find something you're passionate about and chase it with everything you got. But to have the self-scout, the ability to look at yourself and be like, I got more, I got to change, and I can't be complacent in 2 national championships. And then you go dominant.
Yeah. All
right, what's your favorite wrestling move?
I mean, the duck under, you hit the duck under, and it just looks so smooth when someone just falls over on top of you. So I like that.
I was a big fireman's carry in 7th grade. I was always going for the fireman's carry. Yeah, big splash plays. That's what I was about.
That's a good one. Yeah, it's flashy.
All right, now the question that everybody's wondering, Fred, I probably know what I'm about to ask.
Oh yeah, yep.
What age did you start wrestling?
I was 2 years old.
Okay, so 2 years old. I quit wrestling.
So I've been doing this.
I quit wrestling in 7th grade for this reason: the singlet. How did you get past wearing the singlet as a young kid?
I mean, that's all. I grew up in like the singlet, so we're already wrestling in singlets when I was 2. So it was just kind of a normal thing.
They brought the singlet out and they're like, "Here's what we're wearing for the tournament." And I was like, "Nope, I'm out. I'm good. I'm gonna go play football." Not wearing the singlet.
Come on, it's not that bad.
I'd rock it now, but now, my goodness. Back then, I was like, "Oh, no, you can't do that." I'm a middle school kid rocking a singlet. I'm trying not to get beat up in school. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we can just beat them up.
True. Just shoot a fireman's carry.
Just shoot a fireman's carry, yeah.
So I want to bring it back, keeping it in kind of like the world of Jared here. He's he's one of the quintessential founders of Mullet Mania, and he loves the mullet. He's got a foundation that celebrates the mullet. I mean, he's just the man of the mullet. And there's not a lot of wrestlers with the mullet, but can you think of anyone?
Ooh.
I remember when I was in college, there was this Iowa guy that had a good one.
Sammy
I forget
Brooks.
his name, but we have.
Yeah.
Sammy Brooks.
Wow,
Sammy
look
Brooks,
at the encyclopedia of wrestling knowledge over there. My goodness. Fred.
He had a pretty good one. There's a couple guys on the team that have mullets, but it wasn't as gnarly.
Well, you got a lot, like right
Brooks.
now, you got a lot of, like Haynes has like big hair. You got a lot of that big hair, almost like, Ben Askren had a fro, It's a lot of curly fro stuff.
Yeah, you got to tighten the sides up. It just can't be long. You got to tighten the sides up. And Zahid, I'm not a coach and I'm not an expert in your field. But I have a feeling if you grew a mullet, you might get another percent. You might get 1 more percent. You know what I mean? That's the difference between 49 and 0 and 50 and 0. I'm telling you. it's a lifestyle change.
I've had a mullet before. This was probably like 2 years ago, and I just don't think it fit my face. I didn't.
See, I love it because it takes the attention away from my face. And I don't have one of those. I don't have one of those handsome faces. You know what I mean? Oh, all right. So, Zahid, one thing we do like to do is we like to drag people away from what they're good at. I want people to know things about you that maybe they might not know. So we always like to talk about our hobbies. We talked about your tight-roping. What other things do you like to do outside of wrestling that make you a world champion? Or what does the world champion do when he's not wrestling?
I do a lot of. I haven't been able to do it much this past year, but I hike a lot, and I like to cook. Especially like dinners.
Yeah.
We'll do a little bit of bacon, but it was just back in Arizona. It was so easy to hike. There's so many mountains, so many trails.
What was your favorite spot in Arizona?
Sedona. Sedona has some really cool spots.
In the Red Rocks, yeah.
But I've driven down to the Grand Canyon, and I hiked Havasu Pi, so that was awesome.
Oh, you didn't get dysentery when you were there. You weren't one of the 100 people that were had to get airlifted out. You heard about that?
I did hear about some people needing to do that. No, that wasn't.
Fred, people camp down here. People camp down at the Havasu Falls, and it's like pack in, pack out. So everybody's just taking, using the restroom everywhere. And they had a massive dysentery outbreak, and people were getting life flighted out of that place.
All right.
Yeah. I think that was after me.
Oh,
maybe Zahid was the cause.
I scratched that off my list.
He dropped. He started it.
Well, he's a wrestler. He doesn't have to camp down there. He can get in and out one day.
Yeah.
So you like cooking. What do you like to cook?
Just anything, really. I'm big on Mexican food, so like carne asada. I love cooking. I'll make this elote dip.
Ooh.
But really anything that I could find online that just looks good and kind of just put my own twist to it, I'll make. I've made orange chicken before. And I do like bacon as well. I cook some chocolate chip cookies from scratch.
Yeah, that's baking, not bacon.
Yeah.
Baking.
Yeah, it's bacon.
Sorry.
There's no world-class wrestler eating bacon. It's the worst food for you in the history of the world.
Oh, I love bacon.
Zahid, Jared.
I love bacon.
Let me tell you something about Jared. Jared is a judgmental curmudgeon when it comes to food, and I will be at my pantry, gonna eat a protein bar, and I find myself asking myself, is Jared gonna judge me because this has a particular ingredient in it that I know he's not a.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Absolutely. I will absolutely judge the crap out of you. You know what? The knowledge is there, people. You have to actively not try to be healthy these days. You know what I mean? The knowledge is there. It's all over Instagram, social media. The studies are there. The science is there to back it. You know what? Let's get healthy, America. Cook your own food. Commercial chicken farming, as far as on the conventional side, is pretty nasty. It's all the antibiotics and all the hormones. So, got to go free range, organic. Pasture, all
Jared
that
raises
stuff.
his own chickens, so he's very anti big chicken.
Yeah.
I'm big anti big food. You know what I mean? I think we should all grow our food. I think we cook our own food. Get back to our primitive roots. You know what I mean?
That sounds awesome.
So
big gardener, orchard, all that.
I gotta bring it back to wrestling for a second here, because I've watched you your whole career. You've taken this incredible jump. And the only match I felt like you got really truly tested this year, and it wasn't even that much of a test, was Kyle Dake. What was it like for you? Was that kind of like one of those big jumping points for you, giving you confidence?
Yeah, I think so. I think I was confident going into those matches, but obviously beating someone like that's won gold so many times and been into the Olympic level. So beating him and beating him 3 times in a row for sure gave me a lot of confidence. And I think I wrestled better though at Worlds than I did against him. I think it'd be an even different match now. It's just he's just so defensively good in his positioning, but I don't know. I think if I wrestled him at Worlds, it would have been a different.
And of course, he is the current champion at Real American Freestyle. and
Ooh, yes.
Zahid has signed with Raf Jared.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, probably.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'll be wrestling and I'll be wrestling one of those events soon. Probably the one in Stillwater. I believe it's in December, but we'll see. We'll see who they put me up against.
All right, what's some like dirty little tricks that no one really knows about? Like, so when I'm watching wrestling, what's something that you can get away with that you probably not? Yeah, I remember in like high school, people would try to squeeze the fingers. You know what I mean? Sometimes like you able to pinch it all? Are you able to obviously no eye raking, but what's something that you might do to annoy your opponent, like when you're literally taking their soul from them?
Yeah, well, there's a couple moves. I mean, in the senior level, there's always little tricks that you want to get. Like when you're like hand fighting, you're finger fighting. I usually try to like squeeze my hands together, but I look at the ref and pretend like he's the one that's holding my hand, so they end up slapping his hand off. Little things like that get them frustrated, and then I have this good front headlock that I'm trying to get points, but the more they fight it, the more it's just the air goes out.
Just wearing on the
Little
neck.
darts
Certain
in
things
there.
are just there to torment them. And say, Fred, I think I'd be like trying to throw a wedgie in there at some point.
You're talking about the oil check.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
go for a single leg high crotch and just take it.
So there was a Japanese wrestler going up against a world champion, and he had him in like a kind of like a backside area, and it looked like he was humping him and then reaching underneath and grabbing his crotchels. It was like, I was like, what is this? And the dude reached back and like elbowed him. It was
Get on the elbows. Yeah,
it was like,
that was
and then
crazy.
they got in a fight after the match. So
I would probably have to get into a fight with the guy for that too.
Yeah.
Well, in the UFC they banned it because I think it was Joe Kim or Kim some Doe or I can't remember. It was like something Kim, but he literally they got crotch punched until they tapped. The dude was just punching the other opponent I now have to Google this. But yeah, he literally was just, I think he had like a crucifix or something. It was just whack, 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 and just crotch punched him until he tapped. So they took low blows out.
So that's a good segue to our fighting subjects. And that is UFC legend Wanderlei Silva got knocked out during a fight, post-brawl in this past couple weeks. And it just kind of like brings to attention like the amount of people who are legendary fighters who are getting in the ring in their late 40s and 50s. And it just seems like there's a lot of older people getting back in the ring. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't really get it. I feel like if you're retired, you should stay retired. Your career.
It's a young man's game, Fred.
Yeah,
a 50-year-old has no business fighting a 22-year-old, phenom. It's just sad because those guys weren't making the money that a lot of these kids are making these days, and with the endorsement deals with social media and that kind of stuff, all the stuff that they can do on the side. And so a lot of them, I think that's all they know. They've been fighting and training their whole life. And if someone offers them, a couple $100,000, they're going to take it at the detriment of their face, I guess. That sucks because Wanderlei Silva is one of my favorite fighters. I mean, that dude was a monster. That dude was an absolute monster. And I'm sure he could probably still, sleep some people. But, it's a young man's game. And you see it all the time, right? You see guys in that world try to step in down to the younger, quicker, faster fighters who are hungry too, right? I mean, you guys are trying to be world champs, and so yeah, I'm not a big fan of it either. I remember when Tito and Chuck fought each other again. I was just like, oh no, let's just. I want to remember you guys in your prime.
Let's just say Tito has challenged Chael Sonnen to a match in RAF. So I mean, it's happening in wrestling right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess wrestling's a little different, I think, because I mean, it's not different. They're the same age, but you're not punching anybody in the face either. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's be honest. If Kel Sanderson wanted to compete, I don't know many people who would bet against him, even against a 25-year-old.
Yeah, that dude's a machine. Just cardio wise. So Zahid, who, if you had one person you could choose of the history of wrestling to wrestle today, in their prime, who would it be? Who would you want to challenge yourself against?
Let's see. I'm trying to think. I mean, one of the greatest. I'm a little bigger, but John Smith. Now that I see him here at Okie State, that'd be cool. Back in the day, to be able to compete against him, or someone even smaller, Zeke Jones. My old coach at Arizona State. Being able to wrestle them.
I see the smile. I feel like that's going to be for like all the days of sprawling and burpees and running and you put the vest on now, coach.
Yeah.
I love it.
Let's go.
Has there ever been?
I love it.
So this kind of like next subject we're jumping into is it's kind of staying in the fighting arena, and that is there's this guy in Jiu Jitsu, and I practice Jiu Jitsu. I'm not very good at it, but I do it. There's this guy, his name's Derek Moneyberg, and he's like an influencer, investor guy, he's multimillionaire, and he got a black belt in 3.5 years in the jiu-jitsu community, and he's bragging about it, he's talking about it, and he's hired all these people to work out with him. There's videos out there, and the jiu-jitsu community just went absolutely bonkers over this guy. Like, how dare you get a black belt 3.5 years? I'm barely a blue belt, or I'm barely a purple belt. It took me 12 years to get my black belt, et cetera, et cetera. And Sean Strickland, the UFC fighter, former champ, went to this dude's place with the video, called him out and called him a scumbag. And he's got Moneyberg right there talking to him. And Moneyberg's like, how could you do this? This is meant to be a private conversation. And now Moneyberg is apparently going to sue him for the various things he said. But
defamation. Be careful.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Know your legal bounds before you go try to do something for clickbait. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's great, Sean. I appreciate you going out there and calling him out. I think if anybody, they should be calling out the instructor. The instructor that gave him the black belt 3.5 years, right? I think that's probably the bigger deal. Yeah, you got to. Martial arts is one of those things you really got to keep that pure. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just goes to show, money can buy you a black belt.
But in the sport of wrestling, there's not really a way you can advance, right? I feel like wrestling. Speaking of purity, I feel like wrestling is the most pure sport because you can't fake it on the mat.
No, you can't. You just gotta.
No.
There's no colors to it, to your singlets. It's just you and your opponent. There's no way to gauge how good the other person is.
Yeah, it's insane.
Them,
Well, it's man on man, right? It's and at some point, do they have a ranking system in wrestling to where you can't go wrestle at certain tournaments because you're a world champion, right? So does the system force you to continue to wrestle up to higher competition?
Well, see, I'm in the senior level, so it's they'll have the rankings, and I'll probably be close to 1 now or 1. But you just got to continue to compete, or else your ranking will go down throughout the year. Or they
will drop you then.
People might get more points eventually, depending on what tournaments they go and stuff. So my ranking.
Okay, but you can't go wrestle at juniors. You can't go to a junior event, right?
It's kind of regulated by age in a lot of ways, Jared. In the younger side of things, some states will have novice tournaments, but that's early on. The one thing that Zahid has to worry about is the foreign bias. The referees tend to call passivity a little bit more on Americans in some countries.
Yeah.
But when you're Zahid, you're all up on him with the duck under. There ain't no passivity to be called. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That doesn't matter. Sometimes you just can't leave it up to the ref.
Zahid in football, it's I guess the equivalent would be like a guy that gets drafted in the first round and just sucks. Jared, do you talk about that?
Yeah, that happens a lot. There's a lot of hype, right? So I think at football though, it's just like any other sport. We always say you can't. If you're a fraud, you'll get exposed, right? Because at some point you have to compete. You have to do the job that you're getting paid to do, and you have to do it at a level where your peers respect it. You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest equalizer with football and most sports at the top level is that it's not so much what you can fool the fans and that kind of stuff. Your peers know. Right. And so, you see guys all the time that are top picks and they might get more leniency and might get more opportunity because the club's got more money invested into them. But eventually, that's going to go by the wayside. So you can buy time for a little bit, but it'll go. Now I will say, the refs, that is definitely something. I know there are some refs out there, they'll never admit it, that don't like certain guys on the field, right? Like T.O. probably wasn't getting as many pass interference calls as that he should have gotten. I always try to buddy up with them, know their names, get that extra holding call on a tackle,
kill them with kindness type of deal. On the sack that would have given you the sack record.
That was the league. I didn't say I was buddied up with the league. I said the refs, they had no control over that. League took it from me on Wednesday. They wanted Strahan. I mean, he's the face of Good Morning America or whatever he's on. You know what I mean? I love Stray, so Stray can have it, but
is the all-time sack leader. But they took it away from him like 3 days after the game. Yeah.
Wow.
So they review all the stats on Wednesdays in the NFL, and so they had a rule where if they called a muff, the quarterback drops or whatever, they called it a team sack, and they took it from me from an individual sack, even though I tackled him.
Yeah,
so bunch of nonsense. Bunch of nonsense.
So it's kind of like the Moneyberg thing. The proof is in the pudding, right? And I think there's been a lot of encouragement from people in the jiu-jitsu community to get him on like a card to roll with someone so people can watch it. People in jiu-jitsu are like constantly going after him.
But how do you advance? How do you advance without competing? I remember when I was training, MMA and all those stuff. I was on the gym, so I had a white belt for jiu-jitsu. That was as far as I could go, even though I had done it for years because I'd never competed in it.
No. And,
so who's giving them?
You get belts without competition. Like you don't have to compete.
And that's crazy. Yeah.
You shouldn't though.
There's competitions in the gym.
At least have to compete in the dojo then, right? Like
they call them basically time. There's every gym is different, but our gym is like, do you feel like a purple belt? Do you feel like a blue belt? You should really know all these things. When you get at our gym, like there's an expectation you compete, but everyone's different.
Okay. Saeed, what is you hear about in jiu-jitsu and MMA, you hear about these gym fights, right? These just great gym battles. Things that never actually make it to the mainstream, right? To the fans. So what's the greatest wrestling match, or what? I mean, have you been a part of a gym battle, like with a training partner that is just knocked down, drag out on the mat, or have you heard about just insane competitions at practice that happen in the gym that don't ever make it to
I had
a
bunch growing up. My dad started this club called Monster Garage, and we used to have like a select group of people in there, and we were 8, 9, 10 years old wrestling together, and we would just start throwing hands on each other. Somebody gets mad.
Oh, geez, you get to throwing hands.
This guy's not giving me.
I figured that you had to. I thought you were going to say your dad made you do 15-minute
we
rounds.
Just have it's different now. If we start throwing hands, there's going to be some damage. But at like 10, 11 years old, he'll let us scrap for a bit just to see how tough we could get. But that happened throughout my whole career, and then even like in high school, with me and my brother had a couple of fights in there. It was tough to go just because we were just so competitive. But yeah, no, there's a bunch of them, and I don't know if you guys know Aaron Pico.
Yeah, he's a fighter now.
So we used to train with us too, and him and my brother used to have some battles too, throwing each other in the locker rooms and everything. So it was just two guys.
Yeah, he was. California. He was a California kid, right?
Hey, Fred.
Yeah,
kid. Yeah, we grew up together.
Yep. He got caught with a spinning back elbow that was so nasty, and he was winning the fight. He was winning the fight pretty.
Yeah.
He was looking really good actually, and then he got caught with a spinning back elbow that.
Yeah.
I mean, when I say lights out, smelling salts weren't even waking this dude up.
He landed it perfectly.
Yeah.
So do you ever see yourself in MMA?
I've thought about it, yeah. I think it'll be a good plan B, but right now I'm just focused on my wrestling career. Want to go win the Olympics and then cross that bridge when we get there.
Good, because I want to tell people I know a gold medalist.
Zahid's right there, man. He's
don't do it for yourself. Do it for Fred.
He should be pound for pound, best wrestler, at least top 3, in my opinion. The Iranian heavyweight, man, he'll probably be on the world rankings. He's something else. Although his offense is like He's just waiting for people to make a mistake versus being proactive. And I think that's one of the hallmark differences between the Iranian styles and our style, is that you're so offensive, and we're taught to be offensive. It's just different out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. That foreign feel.
So let's kind of like jump into something. Actually, it's a little sad. We're jumping to football for a second. But did you all see the Tyreek Hill injury that happened last night?
Yeah.
No, I heard about it, but I didn't see
his
it.
knee, and it looked like his foot was like turned the other way. You know, like
yeah. I can't. Nope. I don't want to watch it. Don't want to see it. That actually happened to a kid back at UC Davis back in the day. And he ended up losing his leg because they left him on the sideline till halftime because the ambulance couldn't leave or something. And so all the blood, because the knee was dislocated and it cut the blood supply off to his lower leg, and ended up having to amputate. But dude, that's nasty. I heard he'd gotten hurt. I didn't know it was
awful.
that. That's
what's the worst injury that you've witnessed? Yeah, I know, right?
Thanks for really bringing the mood down. I've heard legs snap, right? That's a gross sound when you hear a leg break. My buddy, we were in college, and it happened. He's an Army Ranger. He's been, goodness, freaking, I don't know how many tours. But that dude, he went to the military. But yeah, I heard his leg break in our spring game. That was nasty. You see when Achilles go, right? Because they just fall down. You see dislocated elbows, that kind of stuff. But yeah, probably hearing a leg break is the worst thing I've heard.
What's the worst injury you've seen, Zahid?
I saw my brother one time in high school. We're wrestling this dual meet against Servite, and he's behind them, and he goes and lifts him up. And as the guy's coming down, he decides to post his arm. So he posts his arm, and it just like hyperextends the other way and just like snaps. And it was just so gross. You gotta protect yourself.
Yeah,
that time.
Yep. Again,
it was.
I feel like How to Fall should. Yeah,
Fred, you really turned this
probably
dark.
Should have led with this one, right?
You really turned this dark, Fred. I don't know how we continue. I'm queasy now.
Well, I can tell Zahid we're going to have we've got some good like conspiracy theory shows coming up. We've got we just booked an alien guy, so yeah, we got some good stuff coming up.
Heck yeah, I'll make sure to give him a listen.
Yeah, what do you feel about time travel? What do you feel about time travel?
I haven't put much thought in it, but I mean that'd be cool, right?
Yeah, I mean,
if you could time travel.
It would be. So I mean, that's what this is where we're I mean, this goes back to from our last show. We were talking about the Simpsons and how they predicted the future. So we kind of believe that maybe the producers are time travelers, and we only say that because the Montauk Project, back from what was it, the 50s?
I think it's more recent
maybe.
than that.
I can't remember. When was it? When was the date on the Montauk Project? Oh, Cold War. There we go. Anyway, supposedly the U.S. government and military were doing these experiments in Montauk, New York, about brain waves and time travel and stuff like that. So we got a guy who wrote a book about it, and supposedly I think was a part of it somehow. So
Jared's
we're
obsessed
gonna
with
figure out
this.
if time travel's real or not.
We gotta follow through for him.
How can he not be? Said you're young, so you probably haven't watched The Simpsons that much. I get it. But how do you predict 35 accurate things over 35 years? Yeah. That's creepy. Yeah. That's weird. Yeah. That's worth an investigation. I'm not doing coincidences anymore. I mean, let's be honest. 2020, COVID comes around, and all of a sudden they tell us there's UFOs and no one bats an eye.
Yeah.
Like, they admit it. There's UFOs. They didn't say aliens, but they said UFOs.
We will.
We gotta dig into this, Fred.
The investigations of Fourth and Neat have begun. But for everyone listening who's a wrestling fan, there is a duel between Oklahoma State, RTC, and France coming up, and there's a youth tournament going on in Durant, Oklahoma. And you're going to be teaching a workshop out there, aren't you, Zahid?
Yeah, I'll be doing a little clinic down there. What is it, November 28th
or 30th or something like that? Yeah, it's after Thanksgiving.
Yeah. No, it should be fun. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I would think everybody should take advantage of learning from the guy who went 49-0 at the World Championships and just didn't get a point scored on himself.
And I can't wait to see him.
If you're a wrestling fan,
there's just so many incredible positive things around Zahid. He's just such a great dude. And,
yeah.
I think one of my favorite things about him, Jared, is like he's always smiling. He's always happy in a sport that is just can be littered with depression, because you get beat or you're not doing as well as you think, that sort of thing. He's just always happy.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. So have the ways of training over the years, changed versus, the sweat bags, dropping weight, you hear about the brutal stuff wrestlers will do and fighters, used to do to cut weight and stuff like that. In the modern era of wrestling, is your health and your body and your training more important? Do they try to get you guys to compete more at your natural weights, or is there still a lot of weight cutting?
But I used to cut a lot of weight in high school, and it wasn't until my senior year of high school I decided not to cut weight anymore. And now I'll probably cut like 8 pounds. Okay. I could drop that in a day. So it's really like cutting. I'm not like I'm just
hey, bottle that up and sell it. You'd be a billionaire.
Yeah, but it's nice because you could just focus on wrestling. It's not always about I just gotta do conditioning and get some weight off.
Yeah, you probably feel stronger, faster, healthier. I mean, you gotta be so depleted cutting that much. 20 some odd pounds if you ever did that. Yeah, that's crazy. Plus, you wrestlers don't have any fat to cut. You know what I mean? So you're really just draining all the salt and all the water out of your body and your organs.
Here Very comes healthy. The Jared judgment now. Yeah. It's
craziness.
It's craziness. Now it's on the weight cutting.
No. Well, I've always thought fighters and everybody should weigh in, same day and fight at your natural weight, right?
Same day, 2 hours before we wrestle.
Yeah, wrestlers, I've always liked that. I wish, the UFC and boxing and stuff would do that as well, just because, you see these guys that cut to 205 or, 185 and they walk in the ring at like 240. Like, gee,
the area where the sport is changing, Jared, is youth wrestling. So my kid, is 11 years old, and there are kids who are cutting weight. Absolutely, it's happening. But there's just there's a growing amount of people who will not allow it. None of the coaches allow it. It's against USA Wrestling. So if it's happening, it's happening at the parental level, not from the community.
Yeah. You got some dad giving his 6-year-old water pills.
But I think I think it's time to let Jared get back to roping his steers and getting I think his battery's about to die on us.
Yeah, the horse keeps hitting me. I see he wants to wrestle.
Yeah.
I'm going to wrestle him here.
That there's an actual move in wrestling that's named after the steer turn when you the cow catcher.
The old bulldog. Bulldogging. Yeah. All right. Say my one parting gift, when you smoke this guy in your first professional wrestling match, you got to give him a little, grab him by the back of the singlet and give him a little wedge. Just a little wedgie. Just to,
I bet.
The crowd will go nuts. He's probably not going to do that, Jared.
I'm not gonna, I would probably pay a pretty price to see another grown man.
We're going to have to get into the psyche of Jared at some point to find out why he's in it. This is now the second or third episode he's brought up wedgies. So
think about debilitating. Like, there's mentally. What would you do if you were in a jiu-jitsu match and the dude's just beating you and then he gives you a wedgie? I'd walk off. I'd like, really? You want to embarrass me to the level of like schoolyard, bullying? Cool. It's freaking ridiculous. Like 1920s bullying, an old-fashioned wedgie. And I don't condone bullying people. You should punch bullies in the nose. But yeah, anyways, dude, honestly, it's an honor and a pleasure to sit here and talk to you and BS with you for a little bit. I respect greatness, and you are absolutely at that level, my friend. And so, and especially in a sport where wrestling, where it's literally, you don't have to tell you, but it's how far are you willing to push yourself, right? And I think
Absolutely.
We're proud to have you as our world
just
champion.
hang tight, guys. But that's going to do it for this episode of Fourth and Neat. Be sure to like and follow. Go look for Zahid Valencia on all the social medias out there. Tell him you heard him here on the show, and let's bring him back, Jared, after he beats up and wedgies the kid from RAF. What do you say?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, cheers,
He's
guys.
have a firm spot on it. Firm spot.